It's wrestling mags and muesli. It's the outdated... Oh, a paper cut. It's the outdated wrestling hour. Jeez. Hello, everybody. This is Bob Smith. I used to work at wrestling magazines years ago. These days, I'm the host of the Outdated Wrestling Hour, and I have a wonderful co-host. He joins us here again, and his name is Joe Puccio. You know him from his work at wrestling newsletters and his current website, GenerationXWire.com. Joe, hi.
Hello, Bob, and hello, everybody. How you doing today?
Nah.
You're a little better now that we're recording, aren't you?
Yeah. No, this show, we're going to take a little break from format, folks. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the current state of the game. We don't talk about new stuff all that often. What I do think it applies to nostalgic old farts like me. I have, like I always say, I've watched wrestling for decades, the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Now we're into the 2020s, and that's a long time to be watching this stuff and being part of it. And I'm disillusioned right now. I really am. I was, but let me put it this way, and we'll get into the meat of that in a few minutes. At the end of the second night of this year's WrestleMania, which is several weeks ago by the time this show comes out, but I'm putting the show out anyway, I don't care. But a lot of you saw a Facebook post that I wrote, and a few of you wrote back and said, uh-oh. And I meant what I said. It's like, at the end of the main event, the Rhodes and Cena match, I honestly was like, I can't waste my life on stuff this bad. I cannot waste my life on stuff this bad. You know, I'm getting older now. I've reached the point where I'm reflecting on my life, and I wonder how I want to spend my last years going into my golden years. And I'm thinking, why would I continue to spend hour upon hour looking at something that has really let me down over the course of the last year? At the end of last year's WrestleMania, I was the biggest WWE booster I had been in a long, long time. Take 1 year later, and it just seems like I feel played. I just was that dissatisfied. And for one flash of a moment, and this is no big whoop, it's just a podcast, but I really felt like canning the outdated wrestling hour and concentrating on the outdated entertainment hour. That's how lousy I felt. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of why I felt that way. But Joe, are you surprised by the way I felt at the end of the night too?
I can't say I'm surprised, although I wouldn't have expected it would have actually had the possibility of prompting you to end the podcast, of course. That's pretty extreme. But as far as your general sentiment on the way the second night ended, I can't say I'm completely shocked. No, I have similar feelings, although we haven't gotten into the gist of it yet. But as far as that match and the way the show kind of left, it did leave a bit of a sour taste in my mouth as well.
We're gonna hold it right here. I have to do this. I'm going to leave the studio for about 2 minutes. It's your one-stop shop. Great wrestling. WrestleCopia.com, where you'll find an armload of great wrestling podcasts. Some are weekly, some are not. All of them are great. Ray Russell brings WrestleCopia to you, including his own show, The Wrestling Memory Grenade. There's Regional Wrestling, The Wrestling Stoop with Bob Roop, The Pure Wrestling Academy, Retro Wrestling Review with Gene Jackson, Dave Dynasty's Wrestling Nostalgia, Monday Warfare, Raw vs. Nitro, the Other Ship podcast, the Captain's Corner podcast, and much, much more. Great hosts, great shows. I guarantee you'll learn something every time you tune in to the WrestleCopia Podcast Network. Where do you find all these shows? How about starting it this way? Just log on to WrestleCopia.com. There's nothing else like it anywhere. Well, you know, it all goes back to the original build for the main event, which was Cody versus John Cena. And it goes back to The Rock showing up one day and saying, "I want your soul, Cody Rhodes." We still don't know what that meant, right? Not only was it a dumb thing to say, I can't find two people who thought that it made any sense either. Did that make any sense to you?
It didn't at the time, but I had assumed that the storyline would have played out a little bit better by now. Obviously, WrestleMania being the culmination, so to speak, of the feud, you would think that it would have been revealed by now. You know, if you want to talk about the Dwayne Johnson or The Rock aspect of the whole feud and the whole match, I think what's been said by pretty much the majority of fans since WrestleMania took place is the obvious elephant in the room, which is, why did Dwayne Johnson not appear? He didn't make an appearance, but we did get an appearance from Travis Scott for whatever reason. So I thought that was really, really strange. Johnson has done interviews since then, and he says that he felt that that was his decision. That was what he felt was the right thing to do. He didn't want, whatever he says, that he didn't want to take away from Cena and Rhodes. Basically playing it as if this was the plan all along and he made the executive decision to not appear at the show. You know, that's all great, but the fact is, I think to be at the biggest show of the year for the company, to have the biggest show and the culmination of the feud, why he wouldn't think it was beneficial to appear and have some kind of interaction is beyond me.
Okay, but right there, I'll stop you right there. That pisses me off too. Why are we discussing, I hate this word, storylines openly? Why is everything an open book? All right, Rock? Frankly, first of all, I don't think he booked it either. He's just spouting off. Secondly, I am so tired of the doors being flung this far open. Just so tired of it. At the end of WrestleMania, Triple H announces a new show is coming on somewhere. Of course, I'm not going to watch it. About the writer's room in WWE. You know, that was factor number 10 about why I made that acerbic Facebook post. And I was serious. I'm like, why am I doing this anymore? You know, it's who are we trying to entertain here? Is it just the people on the web? It certainly seems that way. You know, the ones who need to know everything before it actually happens all the time. It's just, look, all I know is this. The Rock thing didn't work for me. Cena's explanation for turning heel really didn't work for me. It made no sense. He's a rich movie star and a multiple-time champion. What's he got to complain about? Price of eggs? I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It made no sense. All of a sudden, he says, I was miserable for 25 years. Well, he sure didn't act like it. Hustle, loyalty, and respect, boy. Right? I mean, it's forced. It's awful. And here's the worst part about it. John Cena belongs nowhere inside of ring at this point. His performance in that match was so abysmal that I can't even put it into words. He falls like Dominic DeNucci in 1983. He's done. He's finished. He looks good, but the timing isn't there anymore. Even the announcers the next day at Raw referred to the match as a clunker.
Well, a few things of what you just said I want to touch on. First thing is, before I forget, the Netflix show.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's going to be on Netflix, unless I'm wrong, but I believe it's going to be a Netflix show at some point this summer. I mean, that's just the evolution, as we've talked about, of wrestling, and they're basically taking it even a step further now, where they're going to put everybody into the room and discuss the angles, and they're going to have the cameras there showing, I can just imagine, you know, backstage, Triple H talking about, okay, we decided to turn you heel, or we decided to break up this team, and the drama that unfolds, the guys that don't want to turn, the ones that do want to turn. Oh, I think I should be doing this, doing that. So again, it's just the evolution of the business. I agree with you. Not my favorite aspect of it by any means, but I'm not surprised at all. I mean, that's obviously the direction they've been going in for many years now. As far as Cena going heel, I would disagree slightly initially in the sense that I really enjoyed the initial turn and I just thought it was something fresh. I thought that Cena going heel was something nobody expected. And I was excited about it simply because it was something that I didn't expect, something that I really was curious to see how they were going to move forward and keep me invested in the show.
Okay,
Uh,
but here's how they kept it going forward. 20-minute segments of them talking to each other on several shows past that. It just talk, talk, talk. Now WWE seems to value the power of a good insult more than the power of a decent match. They are selling the sizzle to the point where the outdated drive-through just closed. Right? Remember the old man that sold the burgers? It, it's like I can't watch this blather. It sounds like old ladies in a laundromat. I'm sorry. Where's the masculinity between these men? This isn't how men talk to each other, man. If I had an argument with you, we would sit down and hash it out, but I wouldn't go, "Well, you should have done this and you should have done that." It's just this isn't even how normal people hash out a dispute.
yeah.
Wrestlers have a way to do that. You fight. So why are we hearing 20 minutes of talk and then a 15-minute match? I rest my case.
Well, that's another thing. And I mean, moving forward, yeah, I would say that while I was initially excited for the notion of a heel Cena, I feel like the ball has definitely been dropped in the execution of it. You're right. I mean, obviously, the majority of it is promos on Raw, promos on SmackDown, back and forth. Cena came out for the first 20 minutes of the show and just hurled insults. The last one I had seen was him talking about the reason why he never had kids. Something about, I mean, granted, this was moving a little forward. It's the feud they're starting now with him and Randy Orton, but he's out there talking about how he never had kids because he had to raise all of yours. So
Yeah,
and they're really grasping at straws. They're trying to make it, give it some
personal.
sense of sense, make it personal. Right. I think most people would agree it's not really working.
No,
So
it's not working. Everybody is sour on WWE. I don't know if the father's there like Triple H and the guys, at TKO realize it. They really screwed the pooch with this year's WrestleMania. They really did. Not only that, there's all these, the fans are really getting mashed when it comes to ticket prices and quality of show at the live venue. Did you see the photos that I saw from Facebook of people who paid $400 for a seat and you couldn't literally see the ring?
I did. I saw the photo of the guy watching on his phone while he was in the arena or in
And
the
by the
state.
way, you other Facebook wag, well, he's a consumer. He knew what he was doing. He bought the ticket. No, he didn't. You pay $400 for anything, you should have a superlative experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hence one of the reasons why I'm really down on probably ever going to a Mania again, even if it's in the New York metropolitan area. I know the last one was in New Jersey years ago, but I really have no interest at this point in ever seeing one live again. It's just not worth it for me for many reasons. But I mean, even going more with that match, I briefly mentioned Travis Scott. Now,
Mhm.
again, granted, I mean, I don't know a lot about that type of music, and I never heard of him before he joined WWE. So I'll completely, admit to that. I do know he's a big musician, that he's famous and he's got fans all over the world. So I'm not discounting that at all. But I will say, I think you just sensed when he came out, the credits started rolling at the end of Mania, and you saw that Rock wasn't coming out, and the way they kind of went to that finish with the hitting of the belt and all that, which was so lame. I think you could just feel the air kind of suck
Mhm.
of the place. And yeah, you can call him a superstar, whatever he is, but he's been a huge disappointment. I mean, even from back when they started the angle, wasn't he the one that legit injured Rhodes? I think
Yeah,
he
I think
in
he
a year
he
or something, or
well, it was the around the eye. I
the
think
eye
he
or
had
something. Yeah.
those mash marks around his eye for like a month.
Yeah, yeah, and still Triple H is pretty high on him. Yeah, you'll see him in the latest rumor, from what I hear, they're talking about a possibility. Granted, I don't know if this is gonna come to fruition, but they're talking about the scuttlebutt as a possible future match, Cena and Travis Scott versus Rhodes and Bad Bunny, is what the latest I'm
Uh,
hearing. Now again, I don't know if this is just
okay, well, throw Jay Leno and Dennis Rodman in the match too, will you?
yeah, I know.
I mean, for the love of Pete, this stuff is so lame. It's so bad. It's so bad. You know, I know Bad Bunny is pretty good in the ring. I don't want to see him again. I want to see wrestlers. I want to see life trained wrestlers. I want to see professionals in there. I don't
And
know who they think they're entertaining. They're not reading their fan base. I guarantee you that 75% of the fans in that arena don't know who Travis Scott is. There's no, people didn't even know how to react when he was walking down that football stadium to the ring. They weren't reacting super positively, like, whoa, our favorite musician is here. No, people going, that guy again? Who is he again? That's what they were saying.
And even something as subtle as he took so long to get down there. He was really, he was walking so slow. And I get it, you're looking for the reaction, but at that moment of a match, the culmination of a match where they're about to do this huge angle, why was he taking his time? It's like, he's just taking his time and going even further than him. Another aspect of the match that I wanted to get your take on. Rhodes was made to look like a complete buffoon, and that they should never do that with the supposed top babyface in a company. But I mean, the whole part about he didn't want to use the belt because he felt it was wrong. He's a stand-up guy, whatever. I mean, at what point are you going to use the belt? I mean, we're not. This is
I'm sorry, what do you mean by use the belt?
there was a part in there where he got the belt away from Travis Scott, I think, and he was going to hit Cena with it when the referee wasn't around, and he just couldn't do it. He couldn't make that decision. He
Yes, he
too much
put
of
the
a stand.
belt down, allowing Cena to belt him.
Exactly.
Which
He
which
flagged
was
whatever he
so
did.
which was so clumsy
It just doesn't make
that I'm like,
sense.
it looked like he stopped, and I'm like, "Why did you stop?"
Why did he stop?
It's they didn't even refer to that. It was it ugh,
But the
ugh.
reason why it really didn't make sense is because at this point, I get it. If this is the beginnings of a feud, okay, Rhodes is the babyface. Rhodes is the all-American babyface who's not gonna cheat. But at this point, after all that's happened, and after these guys, this is a grudge match, and these two guys supposedly hate each other. Why is Rhodes hesitating? And then, of course, he's made to look like an idiot because he
Yes.
hesitates, he gets nailed, and he loses.
You
I
know,
mean, how do you support him?
a year ago, I was so happy to see Rhodes win. It was a 2-year build to him winning the 2 years, a 2-year build to him winning the championship, right? And he has spent the entire year of 2024 from behind, wrestling from behind, getting beat up by The Rock, by a bus, all this other stuff behind. He's down, he's down, he's down, he's down. And then this debacle of a championship loss. Will anybody think that Cody Rhodes is a great champion? Not even close. Not close. The kids love him. He's got a huge fan base. Cody Rhodes, all that stuff. Great, 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 great. But as a champion, he's Stan Stasiak. All right? He's transitional. That's the way I'm looking at Cody Rhodes now. I don't care how popular he is. It's just they've ruined him. But it's more than that. Since I'm not a major Rhodes fan, it was a match. All right? It was terrible.
It was
It
bad.
wasn't close. And listen, there were a lot of other good things on WrestleMania for the 2 nights. They were absolutely fine. The women's match was the 6 or the three-way was awesome. The Fatu LA Knight match was awesome. A lot of the other stuff was awesome. But when you again, this slow plot and Roman Reigns and the build up to the Roman Reigns CM Punk Seth Rollins thing was equally as ponderous. Talk, 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 talk. Granted, there was a nice screw job at the end of that. Nobody saw what happened coming. Nobody saw that. But it's so slow. It's like everything they do is like they just can't do it, be succinct with it. Everything has to take 10 minutes. It's losing its entertainment value. So you have an upset fan base, bad booking decisions, prices that are just a family of four would have to mortgage their future to sit in the second row at a wrestling match, right? It would cost $24,000. I'm like,
I mean,
how can I get behind this anymore? I just don't get it.
talking about Cena, and the quality of the match, yeah. I mean, I think we pretty much can see now how this is going. Cena's going to be around for the year. Supposedly his last match will be in December at some point, from what I understand. But he's obviously not really bumping. He's not really going to be giving you any quality matches, which unless he pulls one out and he surprises us. But I think if there was any match for him to do it, it would have been this one. So that's another thing. You could at least sort of say, well, at least if it was a really entertaining match, it obviously wasn't. But like you said, going to night one, the main event, mixed emotions as far as the build on that one. But I will say, at the very least, at least the match held up to its standards. The match was awesome. The triple threat between Rollins, Punk, and Reigns. And I will say that, see, I think that's the type of ending and angle that really was it was a positive, and they hit a home run with that. Because I think Heyman going with Rollins, and selfishly, I'm happy because I just could not stand Seth Rollins' babyface character anymore. Going out, doing those dances, and just wearing their ridiculous clothes and all that. Now, granted, he might still do it. I don't know. But at the very least, I think it gives new life to him. It's going to be cool to see Heyman with him and how they interact. And I just thought everything combined really was a win for that first night. But, flip the second night, not so much.
I'm mad at everybody. I am. I'm mad at everybody. I'm actually mad at the promoter. I'm mad at Triple H. I'm mad at the promotion. I'm mad at everything. I just, something happened at that main event, And here's the last point I make before we'll go over the card too and what we liked, what we didn't. Why is it always Old Timers Day in WWE? You had Cena come back to take on Rhodes. Now you got Randy Orton versus Cena. What are the combined age? 86 or something like that? What you've got younger people like LA, well, he's not even young, but you got newer stars like Damian Priest and LA Knight and Braun Breaker. Why aren't they in the championship picture?
Yeah.
The fans are behind all these guys. Gunther, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? Well, it's old time. We've seen it. Randy Orton won his first championship in 2004. What? My favorite baseball player was Ed Kranepool, but when he was on crutches, they didn't put him at first base because he's an old time favorite.
Well, I'll say that I was surprised, honestly, when they did the segment on Raw where Orton came up from behind Cena and gave him the RKO. I was really surprised because I had no reason to think that he was going to be the next challenger. I don't know if this was known, internet circles, whatever it was, but I didn't know. So I was surprised. I was texting with one of my friends, and he was like, no, it makes complete sense because the next PLE is going to be in St. Louis, which is Orton's hometown. So I guess they're trying to milk that one, and give you one more time to see Orton versus Cena. So I kind of get that. Does that mean I'm invested in the match or I particularly want to see it? Not really. For a couple of reasons. Again, I think we've already seen that Cena is not going to really give you any kind of great match at this point. And honestly, Orton, I know he's a great worker. He's got a lot of praise, and I used to enjoy his work. I'm sort of tired of him as well. Sort of like what you're saying. I think there's
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just don't want to see Orton in a main event anymore. I think just be putting guys over, and that's it.
I'm not an AEW fan, but at least when they have a raw talent that the fans take to, they push it.
Yeah, that's true.
MJF on down the list. A new breed of wrestling star, Tony Storm. Keep going down the list. It's like at least they recognize it and push the people who deserve to get pushed.
True, true.
In this case, they keep going back to the well, and when the well was full in 2000 and 2001, we're looking at guys who wrestled in the '90s. I mean, seriously.
Crazy, yeah.
I don't know what to say other than the skin's crawling up my back. I'm cringing thinking about Orton versus Road, or excuse me, Orton versus who's the champion? Who cares? This is how upset I am, dude. I mean, it's like, let's
But
go
that
over
being
let's go over the card. Let's talk about what was good or bad, or I'm going to say something stupid.
sure.
All
Uh,
right, so night one, what led us off on night one?
so I think night one, they opened with the world heavyweight match between Gunther and Jey Uso. Obviously, Uso finally won the belt, which I
Well,
think
no,
everybody
finally, no,
well,
finally. I mean, but
finally
it's
and
like he
finally.
won the belt. He was the underdog, obviously, but you know what? The way they booked it going in, again, more talking in the ring, but he wasn't the underdog anymore. I think he was the favorite by the time the match took place. What do you think?
He was absolutely the favorite. I mean, I don't
Mhm.
think anybody. I think when the feud started, I think I was kind of a little part of me thought that they were going to keep it on Gunther. But as soon as like a couple of weeks went by, I think pretty much everybody could tell that they're strapping it to Jey Uso. I mean, they're going full throttle with him, you know. So I think that was that was certainly predicted. And I know there's a lot of back and forth on that. And hey, look, if you're a Jey Uso fan, that's great. It's cool. I get really, really annoyed by. We've talked about this in the pod before. I know when he's coming out that I pretty much have the next 10, 15 minutes, just go do whatever I have to do. I want to go get something to eat and go take my dog out for a second because you know that he's going to come out through the crowd and he's going to just yeet. And then Michael Cole's going to look an idiot doing it as well. Pat McAfee's going to be doing it. And then they're going to stop and then he's going to do it again. Then they're going to go to commercial. So, I mean, you literally have 10, 15 minutes before anything's going to happen. So
Right.
that whole character really annoys me. That being said, I mean, he's over. I mean, you can't deny that, you know?
They're working a crowd, but the people watching at home aren't there. So people watching at home, this is where they're misstepping left and right. They're looking at all the joy and happiness, everybody eating and eating and doing the song, play it again one more time. Let's go, let's go. People are home going, can we watch a match, please?
Right.
I'm telling you, that's what people are saying. Who isn't? You're saying it. I'm saying it. You don't think a family of four watching, on a Monday night doesn't want to see a match first? I
But
mean,
Bob, can I tell you?
the sizzle that they're selling right now is ridiculous. I mean, there's way, way too much talking, way too much posturing, way too much ring entrances, way too much at backstage interviews. I guarantee it, if you time the amount of on a regular Monday Night Raw at 3 hours, I'll bet you there's no more than 40 minutes of wrestling.
Oh, no doubt. Absolutely. But Bob, that's what I was just going to make that point. Can I tell you how much for anybody who still watches the product regularly, where they try to watch Raw every week, try to watch SmackDown every week, whatever it is, can I tell you how much more enjoyable it is watching it the next day or at the very least on a delay. So not starting it at 8, but let's say you get home, you're working late, you watch started at 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10, whatever it is. Can I tell you how much better that experience is? Because when I do that, which I generally do regularly, I'll try to watch it on Tuesday after I'm get off of work or something. And it's just so much better. You don't have to deal with that either. They don't have the stupid ads. They don't have the running down of the upcoming cards. And the very least, you can just fast forward. You can fast forward through the ring entrances.
Okay, now it's time for Consumer Probe. All right. What do you use to watch your television? Do you still have cable? Do you have a streaming service? What do you use?
I still have cable.
Okay, now here's the problem. I would love to do what you're doing, but I joined the streaming nation. I stream. I used to stream on YouTube TV. Now I stream on Hulu plus live TV. It's Hulu plus a live TV package streaming. Here's the problem. I'm on a tier and I refuse to pay for the upper tier. If I want to cut commercials out, I have to pay extra. So in other words, when I watch a show, I have to watch the commercials.
Yes, for
Even
certain
when
streaming,
I DVR it, have to watch the commercials.
but not for Netflix. Like, if you're talking about Raw, for Netflix, that's not the
No,
case.
I have to well, that's different on Netflix,
Yeah,
yeah. But
because Raw's on
anything else, I
Netflix as
have to
well.
let's talk SmackDown, I
No,
have to watch the commercials. I can't get away from it. As I'm scrolling fast forward, even the next day, it says,
yeah,
your show will commence after this commercial break," even if I scrolled forward on it. So I have to watch every commercial that was on every break before I can go back to the show. It's maddening.
and it makes it that much worse. You mentioned SmackDown simply because SmackDown is 3 hours now.
Right.
So I literally cannot imagine putting on SmackDown on a Friday night at 8 o'clock and watching it straight through to 11 o'clock and sitting through not only the commercials, but sitting through the entrances. I couldn't do it. It would bore me. I'd be asleep in an hour.
Right. So to end this segment of Consumer Probe, I will end with this. Hulu Plus Live TV blows big greasy chunks. Okay, that's the end of my consumer report.
There you go.
Now back to the matches.
There you go.
What do we got next? What's in
Yeah, there was, let's see. So night one, there was a forgettable match between the New Day and the War Raiders for the
Who
tag team
cares?
titles.
I know they won. I know New Day won. Who cares?
Yeah, that was pretty forgettable. Nobody cared. There was a really quick match between Jade Cargill and Naomi, with no matter how much they want to push Jade Cargill, I mean, I don't know, she's just not doing it for me. It's
Mm,
doesn't
I,
seem.
I I I don't have any problem with her. I don't. I like her look. Did you hear the pop she got?
Yeah, I like
All
her
right.
look. I
Well,
just feel like I just feel like she's not improving. I feel like all her matches kind of are the same. And
Sid Vicious never improved either.
uh,
Good
well,
point, right?
I was never a Sid fan though, but I get your point.
But no, but the fact
No,
is
I
there
get
are
you.
some wrestlers, the real power wrestlers will always get over.
Yeah,
But by that same token, since they are the power wrestlers, their matches should be limited to no more than 7 minutes,
yeah,
right? Because it's like that's what they are. They're the body slam, power slam, lift them up over the head types, and that's there's always going to be a place for that, and they're always going to get over. The stronger they look, the more over they are. It's just human nature. Look how oh my god, he can beat anybody up. Braun
yeah.
Breaker.
Right,
Braun
right.
Breaker, by the way, is great.
He is.
I mean, what a chip off the old block. He's awesome.
I agree. I
But he
agree.
could do all that stuff. He can give you a 20-minute match and do the power moves. That's what made the Steiners so special back in the day too. They could work a variety of styles.
Completely agree. Breaker's great at doing different styles. He's done nothing but he's had great matches so far. He's got good intensity. He's really really good. Yeah, I think they have something with him. Um, you had the Fat Two LA Knight match.
I thought that was really
Like,
good.
I
That
thought
was
it was
really
good.
good.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and I know you're a big LA Knight guy. I'm a huge Fatu fan.
I like Fatu as well.
Yeah,
I think he's got it, whatever it is. The fact is what's the name of his thing off the rope? The somersault backwards onto the guy. Does he have a name for that? I'm sure he does. Everything has a name. But that move is spectacular, and the fans want to see it over and over again. And it looks like he's killing whoever he's landing on. It's really well done. I cannot deny his odd charisma and his power and his stamina, everything. He's got the whole package. He's going to be big for a long time. So even though I'm an LA Knight fan, I think he deserved to lose the title to him. To say they needed to throw a belt on Fatu. They just did.
they did. They did. I agree. Fatu is he's a great talent, great pickup for them. They did we know that Rey Mysterio was injured, so they did the Chad Gable under a mask with Ray Phoenix match, which was also, I think, about 7 or 8 minutes.
As I said on Facebook, somewhere Killer Kowalski is vomiting, and here's why. Remember when Chad Gable put the little piece of metal in his mask up around the forehead area? That was Killer Kowalski in the 70s. He used to wrestle in a mask and put the same exact thing that he did. Even when he was in execution, once in a while, he would put the piece of steel in his mask. This is nothing new. Why can't he just be Chad Gable? What's the point of all this? He wants to be the ultimate lucha of all time. Is anybody caring, including the luchas?
Tell me
There's a lot of lucha in WWE right now. And I got no problem with that. But why don't we have the luchadors be the luchas and have Chad Gable be Chad Gable? It's meaningless. What do you think?
Agree. We've talked about Gable on the podcast, in
He's
different
great.
their episodes. He's great, great wrestler. He's actually really funny. He's he's good on the interviews. So why they're doing this again? It's just a matter of, I guess, giving him something. It's their idea of comic relief, so to speak. I don't know. To me, it would be more of a Vince McMahon type of
It feels like
character.
it, doesn't it? It feels like a McMahon angle, doesn't it?
It does, and that's why it's a little surprising that Triple H is okay with it. But whatever. That's what they want. And then what was it? What else was on? Oh, the other match was the women's the WWE women's match between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany. And I'll just say this: the match was clunky. It was kind of sloppy. Charlotte Flair, I feel like, has just not been. I just think at this point her work has gone down. I just don't even think she has good heel heat. I just think it's sort of like you see her, and this is me anyway. And I talk to my friends about it, and it's like we just don't really enjoy her work right now. I think there's so many better female wrestlers in the company right now, but I know that they're always going to put her at the top because of who she is, Charlotte Flair, and she has that reputation. But I, for one, was happy to see Stratton get the win on that. I'm glad that they kept the belt on her, and I'd like to see what they do with her because I think they got something with her. She's a little green, she's a little not fully fleshed out, but I do like her. I think she's got a good future.
Charlotte's a funny call for me because, like, what was it, 2 years ago where she fought Ripley, which was my match of the year.
Yeah, it was a
It's a
great match.
perfect match. I guess it depends on who your opponent is because this time it was probably Stratton. I think she did everything she was supposed to do. It just didn't flow as well. It just didn't flow as well. My jury's out on Tiffany as a longtime championship wrestler. I don't know what to make of her yet. I still can't tell if she's a heel or a face. Her moveset is not limited. It's just I don't know. I don't know. There's something odd going on there. Do you agree?
I will say that I think she's way better suited as a heel. I guess now she's sort of supposed to be a face. I mean, she fought Flair, but I mean, I just think a lot of her mannerisms and the way she speaks and her promos, and I just think she would be way better suited on that side. And I would think that they would do that at some point. I think they would realize that as well. But for now, I guess she's a face. But I mean, it was a long match. It had its moments. I just thought it was a little clunky and it didn't really hold my interest. But they obviously gave him time.
But you're right. Charlotte has go away heat, and I don't know if it's really all that fair. But you know, with every wrestler from Hulk Hogan recently to Charlotte Flair, everybody's going to get go home heat after a while. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, this again." And since the women's division has a lot of interest, I mean, what is it, Lyra Valkyria?
Yeah,
She's really good,
she's
really
very
good.
good.
And a lot of these people, Io Sky, please,
Yep.
right? I mean, they're really, really good wrestlers. Becky Lynch is back. I mean, sometimes it's just too much of the same thing, and we need fresh because they have fresh. They've got the stars to develop now, and it should be an intermingling of the two. That's what we saw with Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. But for some reason, it just was like a C match. We agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. It just didn't really didn't resonate. And then from there we had the main event, like we talked about. Again, I said what I feel. I thought it was definitely one of the matches of the weekend. It wasn't my favorite match of the weekend. That was on night two, but it was certainly one of them. But it was a great match. That all three guys did well. I thought the angle was great. I think anything Heyman does for the most part is always pretty interesting. He does such a great job with everything. So I really enjoyed the way night one ended.
I'm surprised to see Heyman moving around the ring the way he's doing right now. I'm surprised he even gets off the apron at his age. Please,
I know.
I mean, it's amazing to me. You know what, Heyman made the match.
He did.
He did. It was fans didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. I don't think you saw it coming. Well done on all parts. And strip away the Heyman part, it really was a good action match. All three of them.
Yeah, it was great.
You can't go wrong with the three of them. Now, all right. So now we're on to night two, right? I can't. Night two had to be better. Well, no, it's not because the main event ruined it for me. We will not speak of the main event again. A pox on everybody involved with it. I've had it. No more of that.
Yep.
No more of the main event. So let's go to the amazing opener, right?
that, I mentioned it a second ago, that's certainly my match of the weekend. I thought that was the best match, the Io Sky Ripley Bianca Belair match. Thought it was just the right amount of time. I think they went about 15 minutes. Could have been maybe a little bit longer. I think they went 14, 15 minutes, but it was great. And
Oh, man.
we were
Not a
talking.
second not a second was wasted, though. I mean,
No,
it
it
was
wasn't
all
all action.
action.
And just talking about, I mentioned that Charlotte Flair, I'm kind of down on her at this point, and that brings me to Io Sky, who from the moment she was featured in WWE when she was in the group with Bailey and those guys. I mean, she's definitely my favorite of all the female athletes right now. I just think she's got a lot of charisma. Unfortunately, they have to be a little bit, judicious with the promos with her because she doesn't speak. I mean, she speaks English, but sort of broken English, so they always have to be a little careful with that. They can't put her out there for too long. I think she's got a lot of charisma. She's a great wrestler, great moveset. And I just like everything about her. So I was really happy that they kept the belt on her. I'm looking forward to seeing what else they have in store for her.
I was surprised and delighted. I agree with you. I think that she's earned her spot. She never fails to entertain in the ring, and that's the word, entertain. What she does is fun.
Sure.
Her high flying moves, her daring do. She'll take a beating too, like nobody else, flying across the ring. I mean, she's really good. She's really good, and I think she may be the most skilled female athlete in the entire bunch, and that includes Rhea Ripley. And I'm a huge Rhea Ripley fan, but I think in terms of technical acuity, I think Io Sky is about as good as it gets. Like, she
She,
can't do power moves and stuff like that because of her size, but it's the way she falls. It's the way she moves. It's the way, like, she comes back on offense and stuff like that. It works. It looks real. It looks like she's having a fight. I think she's real, real good. Real
yeah,
good. And, of course, I still think that Asuka's good, and I think that Kairi Sane is good too. I think that, I don't know where they are. I know Asuka's has a long-standing injury. I don't know where Kairi Sane is right now, but,
yeah,
those are great additions to the WWE, all 3 of them. And again, this was a great match. Rhea was great. You know what? Bianca never let you down either in a big spot. It's just a really good match.
it was. And speaking of those two, I love. I mean, who doesn't like Rhea Ripley? I love her too, and I love Bianca Belair too. I think she's done great things since she came in from NXT. She always gives you good match believability. So yeah, I think that sort of helped that you had those three in that same match, and they really worked well with each other. So I agree.
You know what's not fake? When she takes her and whaps people in the abdomen with it.
I love that move,
That is absolutely a real painful thing. You
and
can hear it go whap,
you hear
and
it.
the next day you'll see the wrestlers with welts on them on Facebook. I mean, they're accepting it. I mean, they must know it's coming and that we're gonna do it, right? That's giving your all to a match. It really is. I my thumbs up again to the WWE Women's Division, which to me is an absolute delight. 9/10 of the time. Chelsea Green too has grown on me. I didn't think she would. She has. Now I love her matches. I think she's fun. All of them. All of them. I'm just. I'm a big proponent of them. I'm very sorry, Howard Baum, but I like the women's division of WWE. I can't help
There you go.
it.
Yeah, and from there was the street fight. Yeah, Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, which I thought it was a pretty standard street fight. It was pretty brutal. You had the big moves, you had the violence, you had the going through the tables and all that stuff. So I mean, it kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit, I think. But I will say I enjoyed it. Again, those type of matches aren't for everybody. Some people, could do without them, and can't say they're my favorite matches overall, but I will say when they're done right, I like them, and I had no problem with it. I thought both guys did a good job there. What about you?
McIntyre is McIntyre. He's good no matter what he does.
Yeah,
He's good on the stick, real good in these violent matches. He's big and strong and powerful, and he's over. That's the
yeah,
main thing. But here's the thing: you have Priest now, who I like, and LA Knight, who I like. I think they both kind of hit a wall.
mm,
They're only letting both of them go so far. When a year ago they were seemed to be really heading for the stratosphere. And again, it's to push the older talent. If it wasn't for when LA Knight was at his peak, when fans were really starting to get into him, here comes Randy Orton, and guess who got the back seat? right?
Right. True.
Now we have Cena back, and Damian Priest is go back a couple of notches for Old Timers Day. I don't agree with it. I think it's the Priests and the Knights that should be in the main events and not the guys we saw in 1999.
I hear you. Yeah, you certainly have a point. I mean, and I think it's not something that's just happening now. I mean, you can go through the years and you could see that. I mean, even going back, let's even go back to the 80s with Hogan. I mean, how long did it take them to finally, want to finally move on from him? But of course, then there was a lot that went on there. They went with Ultimate Warrior, and we all know how that went. He certainly wasn't the guy. And I mean, just from if you think about it, was WWF ever going to move on from those big powerhouses to Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart? Probably not. A lot of the issues at the time, the steroids and the feds coming down on the company and all that played a big part in it. So you never know. I mean, how things would have changed. But I think it's always been an issue. It's just like, when do you get rid of the established stars? When do you start making new stars?
Answer: merchandising. I think the merchandising of certain personalities and stars is a big factor in why they get belts. Jey Uso will probably he sold Yeet t-shirts and whatnot, right?
Right.
Gunther's not going to sell any. What's he got to sell?
Right.
He doesn't have a catchphrase. Didn't have anything flamboyant. No, kids are not out buying Gunther dolls. They're buying figurines for Jey Uso, right?
Yeah.
Agree? I think
do.
the more merchandisable, like Tiffany Stratton would have merchandise, right? I understand why she's there. Roman Reigns would have merchandise with the T.O. What is he now? What's his OTC, like over the counter, but it actually means the original tribal chief on his shirt. The merchandise sellers are going to get, I think, first dibs on titles, which makes sense. It's a business. But for an old fart like me, it's also boringly predictable. You see what I'm saying? It's like you can just tell. So, again, this is how they're going to do things. I think the emergence of TKO as a partner is teaching them how to make gazillions of billions of dollars on every event they do. Good for them. That's fine. But I think as our economy gets worse this year, and it's going to get worse, people, wake up. As our economy gets worse, are we really going to see these double football stadium events? We have another one coming up this year, right? Are they making SummerSlam 2 nights or something like that?
Yeah, SummerSlam is 2 nights in New Jersey this year.
Right.
Yeah.
How's that going to fare? It's going to be eons in news between then and now, or now and then. Are people going to be able to afford an $8,000 ringside seat for that? Think about that.
Yeah.
Or even an $80 seat for that, the way the economy is going to go. I'm telling you, it's going to be a really interesting year in terms of the economy, but that's just a whole other ball of wax. Nothing political, folks. I happen to have people that I know in financial services, right, Joe? I think that, let's put it this way, the smartest people I know's knees are knocking right now.
Yeah.
And that is going to bear in any live event, baseball, football, wrestling, you name it. It's going to be an interesting to see how things are faring at the end of the year as opposed to right now.
Right.
I don't think WrestleMania was a total sellout, but it was close, right?
I don't know. I believe they positioned it as sellouts both nights. I don't know if it really was. Obviously you can never tell these days what's the real number, what's not. So I don't know. I will tell you, speaking of SummerSlam, even though it's in New Jersey, so it's in this area, the New York metropolitan area, I will 100% not be attending either night. I'll watch it. Don't get me wrong. I'll watch it.
We're all going to watch it. We have to. It's in our blood.
Of course, I'm not going to just lie and say, "Oh, I'm done. I'm not going to watch it." However, going there, hell no. I will be watching it at home, in the comfort of my home, with a beer in my hand and maybe some friends over. But that's about it.
Well, was that the whole card? Are we through? Or do we have more matches to look at?
The last few matches, there was the Dominic Mysterio win, the Intercontinental title win, the 4-way match with Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Penta. All I'll say on that is I like Mysterio. I like Dominic Mysterio. I think he's a good chicken heel. You can't deny he's got great heat. The fans just hate him. Although, ironically, they loved him at Mania. but I thought that was fine, for what it was. I thought it
Yeah,
was.
me too. I can't begrudge that. He is
Yeah.
popular.
He's popular. I mean, he's not a big
They
wrestler either. He's good. He's not bad.
again, they love to hate him. It's that weird modern thing. He's not a heel, he's not a face, he's what he is. He's
Right.
dirty Dominic Mysterio.
Dirty Dom. I mean, he plays that role to a T, and he did a
Well,
good.
there's no heels and faces anymore, not in the old traditional way. I mean, you can be this anti-hero that he is, and people will still love you for it, right? Gunther people like, even though he's a prick. It's like you don't have to be 100% white bread anymore or 1,000% evil anymore. You can be that gray area in between and continue to keep your purpose. Oh, Seth Rollins, is he heel or a face?
Right.
Right now, who knows?
Yeah. Yeah.
Punk is not exactly a baby face either. Drew McIntyre, which is he?
Right.
As Phil Mishnikoff once said, or once wrote, pro wrestling used to be about good guy versus bad guy. Now it's about bad guy versus worse guy.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That's such a great quote, isn't it? My
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, and the other one I'll mention, they had the open challenge with Randy Orton and Joe Hendry from TNA. And I'll just say this: there's been a lot about was that a good appearance for Joe Henry, being that he basically got squashed. I think the match went 3 minutes, something like that, like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. To me, I didn't see the purpose of it. I don't know why, they would throw that guy out there and squash him. Why not have a competitive match? I guess they were trying to pump up Orton for since he's going to be main event in the next show, but it's not like Orton needs it. It's not like Orton is an undeveloped guy that needs a definitive win. We all know Randy Orton. So I just thought that was a little weird, throwing Joe Hendry in there. I think Hendry's pretty good, but as far as why they just decided to put him in there, they could have put anybody in. So I don't know why.
I wish Joe Henry much success in his future role as the new Johnny Gargano. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
I know, seriously, these undersized NXT guys, some of them are really good. Some of them, I don't care. I don't see it.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
see it. Did you see Henry standing next to Randy Orton?
yeah, 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 yeah. I did.
The first question that Orton should have asked Henry is, "Are you sure you're an experienced paper hanger? Do you remember how short the Three Stooges were next to the bosses and those things?" That's what it looked like. It looked like forget it. Too small. Too small to be taken seriously. I'm serious. Just another undersized undercarder. Next topic, please.
Yep, and then they did the Logan Paul AJ Styles match, which went pretty long. That match was got to be like close to 20 minutes, but
Yeah.
that was, I mean, again, we've talked about them before. I thought that was sort of that wasn't one of Paul's best performances. He's done some good matches. I thought that was a bit of a throwaway. And then they had the women's match that went on right before the main event, the one where Becky Lynch returned. And I think the only thing memorable about that, as we know, the match itself wasn't really much, but it was the heel turn. Well, I shouldn't say the next night was the heel turn, but it was basically Becky Lynch getting the win in her return.
Weren't TV shows supposed to be the setup for WrestleMania instead of WrestleMania being the setup for a TV show?
Yeah,
What happened?
it's done now. Yeah, that's changed.
That's everything has changed, my friend. And hot dogs are $7. I just everything has changed, Bobby, you old fart. This is the problem, folks. As old as I am and all the wrestlings I've seen, we'll get back to my venting at the beginning of the show. I was offended at the Rhodes Rock Cena whole thing. I just think it started out making no sense and ended making less sense. It shows no semblance of being a sport. And here comes a guy walking, like you said, the Travis Scott walking slowly to the ring. Was the referee up at that point? Was the referee just standing there? I don't remember. I don't remember the pecking order. What happened? I know the ref got knocked out.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, and there's other things. The ref just stood there amongst all kinds of rules violations in that match. Ref is just standing there.
And
The semblance of any kind of athletic event that's sanctioned and certified as a sporting event has given way to bigger, better, badder, 2 stadium nights, $900 seats. It's not the old fart in me. It's the consumer in me going, they're taking advantage. Well, I don't know what to say. If you're gonna charge people out their ears for an event as big as that, you better doggone deliver. And I think they would have delivered better with basic championship wrestling match instead of angling things that have been angled to get to that point. Why do we need an angle for stuff that you needed angles to begin? Why is there an angle at the end? The angle is supposed to feed the wrestling match, the championship bout. Why do we need an angle leading to another angle? Dreadful, abhorrent, lousy.
I'll say this, one last thing about we haven't really talked too much. You just sort of alluded to the 2 nights in a stadium, the length. Let me just say this. I know we've talked about this many times, but 2 nights, both shows, the main show was from 7, it wound up going from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. So that's 4 hours each night. So you have 8 hours of supposed wrestling, even though if you really, now I haven't done the math, but if you look at the times of each match, there were 7 matches on each show, you probably would come up with, I'm guessing it would probably be about an hour and a half if you're lucky of actual wrestling. It might be less than that. It might be between an hour and a half. Now, how crazy is that? You're
Mhm.
talking, you have a 4 hour show, and if you only have 90 minutes of actual wrestling, how is that a thing? It just boggles the mind. And the other thing is, can you imagine 7 to 11 each night? And that doesn't take into account the 3 hour pre-shows. Yes, 3 hour pre-shows. It started at 4 o'clock each night. So it was 4 to 7 pre-show, 7 to 11 main show. And then at 11 o'clock, they did the press conference where, they do the little angles at the end, and, Triple H comes out and talks about how great they did and all that. So, I mean, can you imagine? But there's a kicker. After I watched that second night, or maybe it was the first night, I remember I went upstairs and my wife was up there, and she was surprised that I was upstairs. It was 11 o'clock. She's like, well, oh, it's over? I was like, what do you mean it's over? It's been on for 4 hours. And she's like, oh, I just assumed it was going to go on till midnight, 1 o'clock. Aren't there? Isn't that what they always do? So even that, even though I was sitting there for 4 hours watching a show, she still thought that it should have went longer, just because that's what we know. That's what she sees, that these shows go so long. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Who is watching these things from start to finish? Who's sitting there at 4 o'clock and watching it till midnight, if you're talking about the pre-show and the press conference? It's just too much, and that's even another reason why there's a plethora of reasons. That's another reason why I can't go to these shows. I'm not going to SummerSlam. I'm not going to sit there for 8 hours watching a show. I mean, it boggles the mind. It's like, whatever happened to a 2 hour show? Whatever happened to a 3 hour show? 3 hours would be great. 4 hours? I mean, come on. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, we'll wrap this up with this glimmer of hope. I think the universal review for the show was a C minus at WrestleMania this year. Last year, they left it with glowing reviews, hope for the future. They said cool stuff like, I love professional wrestling at the end of last year's WrestleMania. This year, no such thing. I think the sports entertainment has creeped back in to a big extent. The outside interferences and all the same stuff that I griped about 2 years ago are still going on now. It is what it is. The question is, will the public crave something more? For the first time in 3 years, I think they've left a slight hole in the door for AEW to creep in. And I think that if they don't capitalize on it right now, they're never going to capitalize it. What do you think of that?
Yeah, you make a point. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go on from here. I mean, the part of me that sort of just doesn't know what to say to that is because, look, I mean, they did this, and they have all these people on the internet, and you have all this sort of rejection to it. But at the same time, it just seems like they're still printing money, and they're still selling out everywhere. And I would imagine next year's WrestleMania will be the same thing. So it doesn't seem like they're really losing the support. Maybe they are in the internet wrestling community, and they are for podcasts and people talking about it. But for some reason, no matter what they do, they can do no wrong.
Give it
So
time. Give it time.
yeah,
This was kind of like a referee blowing a whistle. Tweet, timeout. Let's see how people feel about it 3 months from now. Now, I think the Raws and stuff like that will still sell out because they're more. Well, actually, they're pretty expensive too, aren't they? There's $1,000 tickets to Raw, right? I'm pretty sure. So we shall see how it goes in the future. All I know is I really got upset at the end of WrestleMania, but you know what? I've been a wrestling lifer. I can't imagine stopping now. Um, it's rare that we're going to talk about current stuff on here, but you know what? This WrestleMania made me pine for WrestleMania 1, and I didn't think that was a great card.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to say, but WrestleMania 3, sure. WrestleMania 3 was a really good card. But you know what? If you go back and go way back then, even WrestleMania 3 was too long. There was a lot of filler in WrestleMania 3. You know, there wasn't just Steamboat and Savage and the main event of Andre and Hulk. There was a lot of stuff that really didn't need to be there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But you know, they book a little better now. I think they try to. And there's the thing too. Maybe they overbooked every single angle of every match on this one to the point where would you please get in the ring and just fight? All of it. You know, the women's matches, all the arguments between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair week after week. You know, it's getting to be a little bit overly hyped. Just get in the ring and wrestle, will you? Keep it in the ring. They won't. Anyway, Joe, this is one of the few shows, actually, it's the first show that we've done in a long time where it was just you and me. And I'm really happy to have you here as not only the co-host, but the full show person here. And thank you for being here again, my friend. It's always fun. I'm going to take a moment. Tell us about what you're up to. Tell us about your current stuff with Generation X Wire and anything else you may have going on. The floor is yours, my friend.
Well, thank you. Yes, we've actually added a lot of new content on generationxwire.com over the last month or two. Wrestling wise, I wanted to point out a really interesting interview I did with a woman named Kate Kroll, and she's a filmmaker who went and did the new Luna Vachon documentary called Lunatic. It hasn't hit the United States yet. It's currently in film festivals in Canada, Toronto. But I had a chance to see an advanced screening of it. Fantastic. There's some great revelations in it. I think people are going to be really surprised at some of the things that are put out in it. So that was really cool. That one just came out. My interview with her, my review of the documentary, definitely something to keep an eye on. We've also done non-wrestling related, a lot of movie reviews over the past month in anniversary reviews of the Revenge of the Sith, the Star Wars movie that JC Correa just did a 20th anniversary screening and review of. Just a lot of different things. We did a review of Singles for its the 90s movie Singles. So a lot of different things coming out with the website. One thing that's coming up in the future would be an interview and feature with Jeannie Bisson, who was Hollywood in the original Glow television series. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. We're going to do a feature on her and see what she's up to these days, and talk about the old Glow series, which everybody you probably either loved or hated, but definitely had an impact in television and in wrestling in a lot of ways. And we also have something coming up with another name that people may or may not be familiar with, Allison Smith. She played Annie on Broadway. She was also on the 80s sitcom Kate and Alley, and she was in I believe she was in The West Wing for a few years. So she's had a lot of different things going on. So I'm also going to be speaking with her next week. I'm going to do a feature on her. So again, as you can tell, as I always say, pretty eclectic, lots of different things, wrestling, of course, but so many other things that we try to deep dive into. But I will say for this podcast, the one thing that I did want to certainly point out is that Luna Vachon, Kate Kroll interview and feature, because I'm really high on that. Everybody should definitely check it out when it becomes available in the United States, which hopefully will be in the fall.
Very good. A lot of cool stuff happening there. So, folks, I want to thank you all for hanging with us again for this edition of the Outdated Wrestling Hour. Our website is outdatedwrestlinghour.buzzsprout.com. All of our shows are there. No Patreon for us. You want to hear the old shows? Click a link. You're right there. We're available at every podcast app you can think of, as well as at WrestleCopia.com, our network. Write to us at outdatedwrestling@gmail.com. You can find me, Bob Smith, on Facebook. I'm the only Bob Smith that sings with BB King, unless there's a second one I don't know about. Also, we have Bob Smith or outdated_Bob is at Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram. And again, I'm on Facebook, just as regular old Bob Smith, the one that sings with BB King. Also on our website, you can learn about the Outdated Wrestling Hour fan club, where for a nominal fee, you can get behind the show, be part of our little team of fans that are helping us perpetuate not only this show, but the Outdated Entertainment Hour. We have a special new one of those coming up again very soon as well. So, Joe, thank you for your contribution today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out for the whole show.
Thank you, Bob. It's always fun to do this. I know we had, like you said, we haven't done it in a while, but this was obviously relevant.
I've been holding this one in for a couple of weeks now. I wanted to vent about this, and again, it's not prescient. Like, it's by the time this show hits, we have a show in between. I'm going to have to apologize for that aspect of things, but I wanted to let it out because I really was thinking of packing it in. I really was. I was just so dissatisfied that I'm like, I spent my whole life watching something that has been uniformly entertaining most of the time. Even in the NWA days when they were selling, even when the waning days of WCW, I was still involved. I worked with WCW magazine for a while, all that stuff. None of it offended me to the point where I wanted to throw a brick through my brand new television, right? And I'm like, this time it did. This time it was like, where are they going? Why are they doing this? What is happening? Where's some logic? Where's some action? Where's everything? So all I know is that I'm the old fuddy-duddy in the room, I'm sure. But, reading social media, I'm not. For once, I'm not. A lot of people were dissatisfied. But I think a lot of people were dissatisfied for the wrong reasons. Like, Bailey's not getting used right. I don't want to hear it. How long has Bailey been around? Right? This is the stuff people are concerned about. Oh, Bailey deserved to be on WrestleMania. How many WrestleManias has she been on? Already.
Right, yeah.
Hasn't she been around like 15 years now or something like that?
Yeah.
How can you complain? That's the stuff I don't care for. Bring back Dominic DeNucci versus Sweet Hansen. My name is Bob Smith. This is the Outdated Wrestling Hour. We will see you next time. And as Ringo Starr always says, peace and love, brothers and sisters. Peace and love. Attention, Gen Xers. If you'd like to explore the era that appeals to you, look no further than GenerationXWire.com. The generation who grew up with elite in entertainment, music, movies, TV, books, pro wrestling, and more finally has a one-stop destination for all their Gen X needs. From Aerosmith to Batman to the Killer Bees to the Twilight Zone, there's something for everybody at GenerationXWire.com. You won't find a more eclectic mix of pop culture content than at the leading website that specializes in the greatest generation, GenerationXWire.com. Check it out today.